We can add that to the list of questions we'll ask him when we've taken the polyjuice potion, said Harry, sinking back onto his pillow. I hope it tastes better than this stuff. All right, and then Madame Pomfrey had kicked everybody out. Hours and hours later, Harry woke quite suddenly in the pitch blackness and gave a small yelp of pain. His arm now felt full of large splinters. For a second, he thought that it was that which had woken him. Then, with a thrill of horror, he realized that someone was sponging his forehead in the dark. "Get off," he said loudly, and then, "Toby!" The house elf's goggling tennis ball eyes were peering at Harry through the darkness. A single tear was running down his long, pointed nose. "Harry Potter came back to school," he whispered miserably. "Dobby warned and warned Harry Potter. Oh, sir, why didn't you heed Dobby? Why didn't Harry Potter go back home when he missed the train?" Harry heaved himself up on his pillow and pushed Dobby's sponge away. "What are you doing here?" he said. "And how did you know that I missed the train?" Dobby's lips trembled and Harry was seized by a sudden suspicion. "It was you," he said suddenly. Slowly, "you stopped the barrier, letting us through." "Indeed, yes, sir," said Dobby, nodding his head vigorously, ears flapping. Dobby hid and watched for Harry Potter and sealed the gateway, and Dobby had to iron his hands afterwards. He showed Harry 10 long bandaged fingers. But Dobby didn't care, sir, for he thought that Harry Potter was safe, and never did Dobby dream that Harry Potter would get to school another way. He was rocking backwards and forwards, shaking his ugly head. Dobby was so shocked when he heard that Harry Potter was back at Hogwarts, he let his master's dinner burn. Such a flogging Dobby never had, sir. Harry slumped back onto his pillows. "You nearly got Ron and me expelled," he said fiercely. "You'd better clear off before my bones come back, Dobby, or I might strangle you." Dobby smiled weakly. "Dobby is used to death threats, sir. Dobby gets them 5 times a day at home." He blew his nose on a corner of the filthy pillowcase he wore, looking so pathetic that Harry felt his anger ebb away in spite of himself. "Why'd you wear that thing, Dobby?" he asked curiously. "This, sir," said Dobby, plucking at the pillowcase. "'Tis a mark of the house elf's enslavement, sir. Dobby can only be freed if his masters present him with clothes, sir. The family is careful not to pass Dobby even a sock, sir, for then he would be free to leave their house forever." Dobby mopped his bulging eyes and said suddenly, "Harry Potter must go home. Dobby thought this bludger would be enough to make—" "Your bludger?" said Harry, anger rising once more. "What do you mean, your bludger? You made that bludger try to kill me?" "Not kill you, sir. Never kill you," said Dobby, shocked. "Dobby wants to save Harry Potter's life. Better sent home, grievously injured, than remain here, sir. Dobby only wanted Harry Potter hurt enough to be sent home." "Oh, is that all?" said Harry angrily. "I don't suppose that you're going to tell me why you want me to go home, be sent home in pieces." "Ah, if Harry Potter only knew," Dobby groaned, more tears dripping onto his ragged pillowcase. "If he knew what he means to us, to the lowly, the enslaved, us dregs of the magical world. Dobby remembers how it was when he who must not be named was in the height of his power, sir. We house elves were treated like vermin, sir. Of course, Dobby is still treated like that, sir," he admitted, drying his face on the pillowcase. "But mostly, sir, life has improved for my kind since you triumphed over he who must not be named. Harry Potter survived, and the Dark Lord's power was broken. It was a new dawn, sir, and Harry Potter shone like a beacon of hope to those of us who thought that the dark days would never end, sir. And now, at Hogwarts, terrible things are perhaps happening already, and Dobby cannot let Harry Potter stay here now that history is to repeat itself, now that the Chamber of Secrets is open once more." Dobby froze, horror-struck, then grabbed Harry's water jug from his bedside table and cracked it over his own head, toppling out of sight. A second later, he crawled back onto the bed, cross-eyed, muttering, "Bad Dobby, very bad Dobby." "So there is a Chamber of Secrets," Harry whispered. "And did you say that it's been opened before? Tell me, Dobby." He seized the elf's bony wrists as Dobby's hand inched towards the water jug. But I'm not muggle-born. How can I be in danger from the chamber? Oh, sir, ask no more of poor Dobby, stammered the elf, his eyes huge in the dark. Dark deeds are planned in this place, but Harry Potter must not be here when they happen. Go home, Harry Potter, go home. Harry Potter must not meddle in this, sir. It is too dangerous. Who is it, Dobby? Harry said. Who opened it last time? Dobby can't, sir. Dobby can't. Dobby mustn't tell, squealed the elf. Go home, Harry Potter, go home. I'm not going anywhere, Harry said fiercely. One of my best friends is muggle-born. She'll be the first in line if the chamber really has opened. Harry Potter risks his own life for his friends, moaned Dobby in a kind of miserable ecstasy. So noble, so valiant. But he must save himself. He must. Harry Potter must not. Dobby suddenly froze, his bat ears quivering. Harry heard it, too. There were footsteps coming down the passageway outside. Dobby must go, breathed the elf, terrified. There was a loud crack, and Harry's fist was suddenly clenched on thin air. He slumped back into bed, his eyes on the dark doorway of the hospital wing as the steps drew nearer. Next moment, Dumbledore was backing into the dormitory, wearing a long woolly dressing gown and nightcap. He was carrying one end of what looked like a statue. Professor McGonagall appeared a second later, carrying its feet. Together, they heaved it onto a bed. Get Madame Pomfrey, whispered Dumbledore, and Professor McGonagall hurried past the end of Harry's bed, out of sight.